American and British voters share deep roots. In 2024, they distrust their own leaders too. Dartford, England. Distrust has settled over the campaign trails in the United States and United Kingdom ahead of July 4 like a soggy summer haze. On that date, British voters will choose a new parliament in an election expected to finish with a Labour government after 14 years under the Conservatives. Americans, polarized by the rematch between Democratic President Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump, will mark Independence Day in something resembling unity with barbecues and fireworks ahead of their vote on November 5. There's much to celebrate on the 4th of July for the world's biggest democracy and the venerable kingdom that gave rise to it. 248 years after they split and set off on slow, troubled journeys toward granting all citizens the right to vote. Both remain rooted in the Magna Carta, the English document signed in 1215. It set in writing the idea that leaders, including kings, presidents, and their governments, are not above the law. The nations have become close friends and stalwart allies. That's how it started. As for how it's going, the run-up to July 4, 2024, Independence Day for one land, Election Day for the other, offers a snapshot of the stress test facing voters in each country. I'm just very disheartened, really, because I don't think any of the parties know what they're doing. Dartford, England, resident Jacqueline Richards, 77, said of her country's election. But then looking at yours in America, it's not that great, is it? Every democratic election is, at its core, about who voters trust to run their countries so they can go about running their lives. Debates are candidate aptitude tests in real time. Thursday's showdown between Biden, 81, and Trump, 77, proved a stark example. Biden's halting performance did the opposite of building confidence, even among some of his supporters. Trump, meanwhile, repeated his lies about the January 6, 2021 insurrection and his record as president. That's only the most recent example of why distrust and resignation dominate the emotional landscape in both countries, according to voters interviewed by the Associated Press in recent weeks. From battleground Wisconsin to bellwether Dartford, England, voters said years of misinformation, scandal, and lies have drained them of the sort of optimism or excitement they might once have felt about the right to vote or the future. In Britain, 45% said they almost never trust governments to put the nation's interests first, up from 34% in 2019, according to a survey published June 12 by the National Center for Social Research. The pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine war, and the country's cost of living crisis affected living standards and the economy, it reported. 2 Tory prime ministers were ousted. Also, there was Boris Johnson, who resigned rather than be thrown out of parliament over boozy parties at 10 Downing Street when the nation was under COVID-19 lockdown. They promised and promised and promised and nothing ever changes, said Shane Bassett, 34, the bar manager at a pub in bellwether Dartford, England, where the Peasants' Revolt of 1381 is said to have started. No matter who gets in, if it's Labour, if it's Conservative, it's all the same. They all lie.